So you can't even talk about fat loss unless you address the most important part, is how do I keep all of the muscle that I worked really hard for? Because that is the most important part. Everyone can get shredded. Did you lose 7 pounds of muscle in the area you needed to improve on when you lost? Well, good job on your fucking fat loss. Is it better to be bulking or cutting on the pump? And my whole thing is like, your training should stay the same year round. I don't even know where that whole thing started, where I'm sure somebody was like, oh man, I'm getting weaker. I can't lift as much weight anymore. I'm going to just do higher reps and whatever. And then there's probably just generations of people who picked up on that, and they're like, that's what I got to do, without realizing your strength should stay up. You might lose however many times you can bench 315, but you'll always still be able to move 315, if that makes sense. Like, you might lose some strength, but you're never going to be like, oh man, I can't touch certain weights anymore. I can't do that. Usually it's just exhaustion to hit the same as you used to be able to do. The strength is usually still there. And the way that I do it on the pump and the way I keep my training is I keep my training the same year round. If I ever want to put on weight, my training doesn't change. I just add in more food. I get myself into a surplus of calories or remove calories from being burned on my cardio. If I have my cardio up and my food is low and I want to gain weight, cardio goes down, my food goes up, I gain weight. It has zero to do with my actual training. So training stays the same. Same thing with cutting. Dude, you're already burning so many calories from these workouts. All you have to do to get into a cut is just bring your calories down or increase, the opposite of a surplus, right? But making sure that you never deviate from the golden rule of bodybuilding, which is like failure and heavy weight. And that's all relative, right? Somebody might be stronger, but if you're shooting for 8 reps, you should be getting the heaviest weight possible to controlled knock out 8 reps. You know, if somebody else is stronger than you and for 8 reps it looks more like 405, but you're doing 135, but the struggle is the same for the 405 guy as for the guy that's doing the 135, then you're good to go. But a lot of people get like, oh, I'm caught up with the weight, it's not feeling the same, I gotta switch everything up. Just hammer down on getting after it, keep the intensity high. Your training should stay. That's what's so hard about prepping for something. If you could actually allow your intensity to go down, bodybuilding wouldn't be hard because you'd allow yourself to get lazy. What's really difficult is waking the fuck up and having to hit the same level of shit you did the week before when you just dropped 2 pounds and your carbs are lower or whatever it might be. But you can do it. That's the way it should be done. Bodybuilding is absolutely not easy, so getting yourself ready for that. I'm sure you guys have all had a moment in your life where you've been exhausted or tired, and then you get an adrenaline rush, and then before you know it, you're ready to go, and you're up, you're off the couch, you're doing something. Give yourself an adrenaline rush. Get yourself stoked, because you can snap out of being tired pretty damn quick when something really important happens. But when you're sitting there on the couch, and your spine is rounded forward, and you're getting all exhausted from what you're doing, you're just feeding into the exhaustion and tired. But you gotta make sure that when you're prepping, you get that intensity up. So back to the overall training of like keeping it intense, try to take that mindset of like however you feel in your off season with that intensity and push, try to match that as you get through your prep. Oh man, I would say the only time that you should ever take a break or tone it down, 2 weeks out. You're approaching peak week. I wouldn't say it doesn't have anything to do with like your weights, but you might change up some of your workouts a little bit. If you're 2 weeks out, you should have shredded butt cheeks, so that might change the way you're prioritizing certain movements. You're getting close, you know what I mean? But leading up to that 2 week out mark, you should be doing what you were doing 24 weeks out. You should be doing what you were doing 2 weeks into a bulk, is what you should be doing all year. From a training perspective, not food. You won't get anywhere close to striated butt cheeks if you're eating off-season stuff. The level of conditioning that you have when you're at that level of lean, and that's something to remember, is like it's going to be brutal. Like fat comes off of everywhere to get the body fat off your hamstrings, your glutes, your butt cheeks, to get the thin look. And that's not just showing the outlines of the muscle. There's different levels of being ultra shredded. So if you actually get lean enough, you might sit there and go, oh, I have striated glutes. Yeah, you have striations in your glutes. They're not striated glutes. You still have a centimeter of fat laying over the top of that. You have 2 glute lines showing you should have 12. You know, striated glutes could look like a fucking cheese grater. You know what I mean? It could look like a guitar string all the way across, all the way down. And if you just have the outline You could be like, man, I'm approaching fucking stage ready. It's just not the same. So always be aware of that kind of stuff too. The level of conditioning that you might want and shoot for just like looking amazing. You might think you need to get a show level prep for it, but it's actually quite a bit higher than what you would think. Obviously, we all pull fat differently from where it comes off us. Whether if you're like, hey, I want striated glutes, and it's the last thing you drop, that sucks. But that's just the way that it goes. I always like keeping my training the same. I don't cut down shit, so I can keep that stable calorie burn all the way through my prep. My training stays the same. That way I can always rely on that big ass burn from the workout. From there, then I put my cardio in. It could be treadmill, it could be bike. Low intensity will always be a steady state base. Like low intensity steady state means it stays the exact same throughout. I do like high intensity. Certain things like stair stepper or big movements with my legs, or even small stuff for my legs, but big movement for my calves, like jump rope. That has actually, while I do utilize those forms of cardio, I actually see benefits in my physique when I do that stuff. Walking on the treadmill, I get a calorie burn. Walking on a stair stepper, I see more lines in my quads. It's what do you, of course, you're doing about 1,000, walking upstairs, you're doing mini lunges for fucking an hour. Of course you're going to see more results than walking fucking flat. So I do say, if you're going to do something like that, if you have the option to be moving those legs more and planting and stepping instead of just like plopping around on an elliptical or something like that, more not impact stuff, I would choose those. I think those are just going to be better. Always start out really low. I'm the kind of person where it's like, I'm never going to be like, oh, you're starting to prep 45 minutes of cardio and drop those carbs 100. You can do very, very tiny adjustments and see big results. But as long as you plan long period, you're always going to get great results from small adjustments. That's the best way to maintain the muscle. At the end of the day, if you're on my channel and you don't care about maintaining your muscle, I would leave. Because that's the point of all this shit. It's all about when you do show the muscle that you've worked so fucking hard for to maintain it. So you can't even talk about fat loss unless you address the most important part, is how do I keep all of the muscle that I worked really hard for? Because that is the most important part. Everyone can get shredded. Did you lose 7 pounds of muscle in the area you needed to improve on when you lost? Well, good job on your fucking fat loss, but you lost your improvements. So it's really important to go, I'm starting my prep. I don't want to give myself a tiny period of time to get shredded. I want to give myself all the time in the world so it's easy on my body 6 months out from the due date. So if you start 6 months out, the adjustments that you can give yourself is 5 minutes on a treadmill. You give yourself 5 minutes on a treadmill. Or I'll give myself 3 minutes of jump rope. 3 minutes of jump rope? Jesus Christ, Julian, did you even get a sweat? You'd be surprised. If you're so nailed down with your macros, you're nailed down with your training, you can add a fucking 15-minute dog walk to your weekly routine and see it start trending down. Everything needs to be spot on. You can't just sporadically go running on the beach and then go snowboarding and then wakeboard and then do this and be like, can't believe I'm not losing weight. It all needs to be tracked and something you can maintain and progressively continue. Progressive overload, even in the cardio form. So something like that is really important to start doing and do it gradually. Kind of like if you jump in there and you start getting into a deficit, find out where your body weight is staying exactly the same, take 15 grams of carbs out. Don't add any cardio in yet. Weigh yourself for 3 days. Which way is the scale trending? Is it going up or down? Down. That's a good thing. Wait till it stops going down. So you weigh yourself for a couple more days. It doesn't go down, it stays the same. You know exactly where your maintenance is. Your cardio, your food, your training, everything has kept you the same weight for 6 days or something like that. Now you know, if I just add simply another factor to my workout, 5 minutes of low intensity at a 15-degree incline, 3 mile per hour walking, that it will be enough to get me into a little bit more of a deficit and watch my weight go from 200.2 to 198.8. And that's what you want with bodybuilding. You don't want to wake up and go, down 4 pounds. Bro, like, we're not weight loss people. There are weight loss people. This works for weight loss. But if you're a weight loss person who's made muscle, you want to maintain that muscle. If you're somebody who's on The Biggest Loser and you don't give a fuck about muscle and you're trying to, like, no offense, but not die and get the weight off as fast as possible, don't sweat the muscle. get those weight drops off, and then get to a spot where you could be. But if you really want to be in a position where you get the most out of it, you know, bodybuilders usually want to complete their show and then not blow up 40 pounds afterwards. And if you do I usually say the longer it takes you to take off the fat, the longer it takes to put the fat back on. If you lose all your weight in 30 days and you're down 25 pounds, you're going to have a grape and gain that weight back. But when you do something over a super long period of time, I mean, you could have, and I'm not encouraging blowout meals and binge eating situations, but those are usually when you can get away with stuff like that because you've worked so hard at maintaining your metabolism, body composition's in a good spot, you did it the right way, and then you can treat yourself in a certain way where you don't just have a terrible reaction. Small adjustments are everything. Even natural, on gear, doesn't matter what it is. Our goal is to get as shredded as possible after we worked really hard in an off season from what we've built. So when we start cutting, it's important to approach fat loss the right way and always know that fat loss is secondary to maintaining the most muscle possible. You got to get lean. You got to get shredded. But being shredded will come eventually by maintaining that muscle and taking your time getting there. So one of the only times I've kind of covered long form prep like this, if this is something that's new to you or something that you're like interested in and you're like, man, I've never heard it talked about like that, or I like the way that you're talking about that, drop more comments down below and let me know. I know nutrition is such a hard spot because if your nutrition and diet and everything isn't lined up, you can literally do bodybuilding effort. Like I'm talking about coming in there, pouring your heart and soul into the gym and see no results. It really is this combo of like 365. Do you want to just exercise, look kind of good, get kind of tone? Then just do your best, you know what I mean? But if you want to get bodybuilding results, it's best to just tighten all this shit up. You hear everyone say it. You've always heard everyone say it. And then usually when you finally tighten it up, you'll have one of those remorse moments where you're like, I should have done that earlier. We were talking about that kind of shit today where you're like, man, sometimes it clicks and you look back at like 10 years and you're like, you see it in the books. They tell you what to do and you find a way that might work a little bit, but it's best to just make sure that the diet's on point, training's on point. If you're trying to bodybuild it. Save exercise for later in life. But if you're going to bodybuild, take care of all the things that make you a bodybuilder.